There we go. Wow. That has never happened to me during a thing, a stream. I did you all get that too? That crash? But anyway, it'd be yeah. Thanks. Um, I guess I should have specified this before the stream as well for everybody. But so Microsoft is like maxing out Mixer this week because it's E3, and there are just a ton of streams going on right now. I mean, like we have like EA Games has their own stream right now. IGN is having their own stream. Xbox joined with their own stream. I mean, come on, I can continue to name it. So I think what happened was. I think what happened is we just had an influx of people watching streams, especially some of the more popular ones. So little old me probably gets crashed quite a bit for that reason. But anyway, I'm back. Okay, we're good to go. You know what? For that, I'm going to give you all 50 because I apologize. Things are going a little bit haywire tonight. Thanks for sticking with me. Sorry about your phone too. That sucks. I know Mixer's phone app is the worst. I mean, they have not spent any time on it. It looks like I tried to do it once and said screw it, and I don't have it anymore. But yeah, that's probably why it's been flipping. It's Charlie's been flipping in and out. Anyway, get the Lesser Soul Forge. This is a godsend, especially if you are not if you don't have a cleric near you, which is sometimes what happens with me. I get resurrected instantly. It heals me instantly. I can move out of the way fast, and it works perfectly. The other good thing is if you wait a while after you get instantly healed. So if you're like in a dungeon, it's not like a one thing and then I mean, it triggers every 90 seconds. So if you survive for another 90 seconds, guess what? You get it again. It can resurrect you as well. And the higher you get this enchantment, the higher the amount of healing is. I mean, the legendary of this enchantment is crazy. I can show you the next one, which I'm going to be trying to get to, is the Soulforge enchantment. And this is like 6,000 health and then 1,000 health every 3 seconds. I mean, it's clearly awesome. Now, the only thing I have to tell you about this is that with this enchantment, you refine it up, and when you're about to refine it, there you have a 1% chance of getting it upgraded. A 1% chance, and that is every level of this enchantment. So if you start out with a low-level enchantment, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to upgrade it and have a 1% chance that it'll work. Then the next level, you get another 1% chance. So in order to combat that, you're gonna want to save these. Let me show them to you. If I can find it. Where did it go? I bet you I didn't withdraw it. I didn't. Shame on me. Anyway, you're going to want to get a Coalescent Ward. These Coalescent Wards are a guarantee upgrade. So as soon as you go into this and try to upgrade the enchantment, it will upgrade it instantly. So, for instance, let's see. I can't really show you because I haven't finished this refinement yet. But as soon as it goes up, just like any other refinement thing, you'll need to put a ward in, and you just put it down here, the coalescent ward, and it'll go from 1% to 100%. So make sure you save your coalescent wards for these enchantments specifically. Do not waste them on any other things. Trust me. You want to use it on these because these are a 1% chance of getting upgraded every time. And, again, these all have an item level. These are simple things that if you forget to do and you do not equip these things, you are going to lose item level. This is 39 item level. Really good. You upgrade it again. It's a 48 item level. It's a consistent battle all the time to upgrade your stuff, because every time you upgrade your stuff, you get a 10 plus item level. Alright, enough of that. Next thing. Artifact, belts, and cloaks. As soon as you get higher up, you're going to start gaining the ability to collect artifacts or belts, either by buying them in the trade house or getting them as a reward in dungeons or lockboxes. These artifact equipment are going to be the best type of equipment you want to put on your character. They are refinable again, so every time you refine them, it goes up in item level. So right now I have a epic 130. I can get this to a legendary, which is a, it'll show you here, a 135. And look at that boost. I get 388 power and 162 strike by upgrading it. Do not forget to refine your equipment. Every bit of refinable equipment is the best. You want to make sure that you spend the amount of time to refine it. The only thing I would suggest about your cloak or your neck piece and your belt piece is that you want to get it to coincide with one of your artifacts. There's a special thing that if you look at it, inspect, let's go down, there it's called a set bonus. And each of the different types of pieces of equipment are part of a set. If you reach the amount of set, if you reach the 3 of the set, if you get them, you have the chance of getting a bonus. So right now I have the Black Ice set. It consists of the Greater Cloak of Black Ice, the Greater Belt of Black Ice, and the Black Ice Beholder. And look at this nice bonus it gives me. You have a chance to deal additional unresistible damage equal to 10% of my weapon damage. That is awesome. It's a great set to have. There's only one set that's better than this for a Scourge Warlock, which I'm trying to get. But this is what you're looking for. If you're a different character, go for a different set. Go for the set that's going to give you the best bonus. But make sure you're paying attention to it. Don't buy a random artifact. Don't buy a random cloak. Don't buy a random belt and then stick them on your character and realize that in your rush to get item level, you have missed out on a ton of extra damage or healing or tankage or whatever. So I can't caution you guys enough that in Neverwinter, item level is not everything sometimes. There are times when I have sacrificed item level in order to get a good set of gear that has a little bit better stats for me. So do that. Make sure you get these 2 pieces and match it with one of your artifacts. Same thing, your main hand and your secondary hand. I'll give you a look here. Inspect. Have the same thing. If you get a secondary artifact, you want to get the other artifact to go with it. I'm actually in the middle of working toward that other artifact. That's why I only have one of them right now. But that's the point. That's the point. So make sure these 2 match when you can, and these 3 match. The belt, the cloak, and one of these. Alright? Let's see. So that's those. Your rings are good too. You're gonna, when you want to do rings, I'll show you what you're gonna do. Sorry there hasn't been a lot of moving around. A lot of this stuff is just pretty self-explanatory as long as I show it to you. But to get your rings, you're going to want to go to your skirmishes and run this, the Prophecy of Madness or the Throne of Dwarven Gods. The nice thing about this, and I don't know if this was kind of an oversight on their part, but these 2 skirmishes do not have an item level to them. You can run those with anybody. I can run those with you anytime, and they will get you good rings. And these rings are awesome. The rings come from, they're called Underdark rings, and they come from... and they start with +1 and they go to +5. +5 is super rare. I've been trying to get +5 for a year and I still have not gotten one. I guess I haven't played that much, but I definitely think that by now I should have gotten +5. That's just the way it is. Unlucky again, like I said. No, they are not level capped. You can have them right away. If you want to get them, get them. The problem is that in order to get some of these artifacts that you're looking at, you have to draw them out of a lockbox, which you can do. You just have to pay money to get keys, enchanted keys for that. A lot of young players, you know, item level wise, have been very lucky. They draw them out straight out, and they get these. A lot of them are legendary. They give you legendary artifacts. I've seen people that are like a 16 item level running around with one random level you know, item level 130 legendary artifact. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, come on. And there you go, you got it. So that you can do for sure. The artifact weapons do not drop in those boxes. The artifact weapons need to be done by doing the campaigns. So for instance, your elemental evil, once you're done, you'll get 2 artifacts, the main hand and the secondary hand. And then you have to go and do your Underdark, which your Underdark will give you another set of artifacts that's a little bit better. And then you can do Storm King Thunder or Cloaked Ascendancy. They both are kind of equally the same. Storm King Thunder artifacts are a little bit better than Cloaked Ascendancy, but they are a lot harder to get. But that's how you have to get your artifact weapons. You kind of got to play through that stuff, and those item levels are high. You can't walk in unless you have enough power to get by Storm King Thunder enemies and Cloak Ascendancy enemies. Does that answer your question, Charlie? Hopefully? Alright, cool. But yeah, the artifacts, you get them now, great. Just store them away, put them on your character, and use them. That'll boost your item level up real fast. Artifacts, just to give you a little bit as well, these are kind of the same thing. You draw them out of lockboxes, and they're different types. You kind of just got to read each artifact and understand what its use is for, what its equipped power is. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with a couple random artifacts on your person that are high level. So say I got 4 artifacts that are item level 96, and they don't do anything for me. For instance, let me see what I have one on here that's stupid. Oh, this one. So this is part of the set, which is why I got it, but now that I look at it, if you do the equipping, I don't need 211 recovery. It's just, it's pointless for my character right now with how I'm building him, so it's sort of a waste. I should be getting another artifact and putting that in that slot, which I probably will do when I get this new set of armor. So just make sure you don't do that. A lot of these things, they're high item levels. Yes, you can. That's the other good thing though, is that you can refine these into another one. So make sure that you're not just deleting these when you're when you're done with them. Don't ever hit discard on these things. That would be a big mistake. Yeah, you want to make sure Lord is right. Lord Carthion is right. That you need to keep these and wait for a double refinement. I will probably put out a little bit of a blurb before the next double refinement telling you exactly how to refine, so make sure you keep your eye out on that. I'm not going to spend time doing it right now because I only got 15 minutes left and I feel like I'm not halfway done all the gear. But yeah, double refinement, hold on to it, wait for it, we'll get there. Rings. Rings, again, Underdark rings, they start from +1 and they go to +5. You're going to want to get at least as high as you can get. And it's random, so when you play the skirmishes, you can get a +5, you can get a +1, it's completely random. So again, it's really good for a younger player because if you play, you can get a really high ring. I think the +5 is a 146. Whereas this +4 is a 142, and I've gotten like 3 or 4 of these +4s in playing. So the +4s are definitely doable, and you can get 2 of the rings. Another cool thing, these +4 rings, look at that, they have 2 gem slots on them. So you're going to boost up real fast once you get a +4 ring. Because you're going to have a ring, and it's going to have a gem slot, and it's going to have 1 gem slot. But as soon as you get these +4 rings, you can put 2 gems in it, and boom, there's an extra 39 item level. So start doing that now. If you can get into any skirmishes with people, it might be tough. You might be a very low level. It might be very difficult. But if you run with higher level people, and you at least get to the end of those skirmishes, because they are doable, you can get some good stuff like these enchantments. I'm sorry, like these rings. This is another thing to mention, because I made this mistake as well, but when you read certain rings, you might seem like you're not getting the stats, and here's the reason. So if you look at this Ring of Brutality, That offensive and defensive slot skill, that critical strike and lifesteal, is technically not on that ring. Those are my enchantments, so just scratch that, ignore it. This ring actually does not have any stats on it. Do not let that fool you. If you think that if you let that fool you, you're going to miss out on a high item level piece of equipment that it gives you a lot of stuff. These Underdark rings do special things when they're equipped, and you have to read them carefully to understand. So I'm going to put this ring on, and if you look at my stats right now, my power's at 15,000. Alright? This can fool people, and it fooled me, because when I'm looking at my stats, I want it to be as high as possible. Alright? Same thing. If I go down here, my crit chance is at 56%. Alright? That kind of fools people, and it fools you. It'll fool you. Because you think that that's what your stats are, but that's actually not. Certain things give you powers when you're in combat. This ring, for instance, does. Every 30 seconds, when I'm in combat, see it says this effect only works in combat. Every 30 seconds, I gain 4,000 power for 8 seconds. So my stats, even though it looks like 15, as soon as I enter combat, boom, my power's up at 19,000. And it stays that way, and then while I'm in combat, and then when I get out of combat, it'll drop back down. This can fool anybody because they're so worried about looking at their stats while they're standing around that they don't realize that some gear actually increases their stats much higher when they're in combat. And let's be honest, we only care about where our stats are in combat. So make sure you put these rings on. It might say that you're going to go down in critical, critical strike because you're switching out a ring that you had for a ring that doesn't have any stats. But this ring makes up for it because every 30 seconds when you're in combat, I gain 4,000 power. And there's different types of rings for like deflect, recovery. You just kind of got to look at them and get the right one. Alright, so make sure you equip those two rings. This ring is a ring that you get at the end of Storm King Thunder questline, and it's a little bit better than the Underdark rings unless I was to get a +5. If I was to get a +5 Underdark ring, I might switch that out. So that's the only reason why I have this ring. You don't really have to worry about it until you finish Storm King Thunder, and then they just give it to you, and you can decide whether you want to equip it or not. Alright, so those are the rings, and then last but not least, the elemental shirts and trousers. Well, at least that's what I have. But these two things you can buy in the trade house. That's really the only way to buy these things. I had a really hard time getting them any other way, so I ended up just biting the bullet and collecting enough AD to get them in the trade house. But again, these two things will really boost your item level, because remember, you're going to be at like 1800 item level, and you're going to think, well, how the hell am I supposed to get to 2000? Like, I got nothing. And you'll look in your character sheet and you'll see that these two slots will be empty because quest lines don't really give you the shirt and the trousers that gives you a high item level. So if you go to the Astral Diamond, you collect enough the trade house, and you collect enough Astral Diamonds, just buy these outright, and you're basically adding 130 and 130, because you'll probably buy cheaper ones than these, but you'll get you'll get a 260 item level boost by just buying the shirt and the trousers. So make sure you fill those as quick as possible. Same thing, they also, the higher up you get with them, they have a gem slot, so boom, buy one with a gem slot, then you get another extra 39 item level. I hope by now you guys are seeing the pattern that a lot of these things you just kind of look for, and once you find those gems no pun intended, once you find those gems, you can equip them to your character and add those enchantments to them, and your item level is just going to skyrocket. I mean, it happened to me, it can happen to you, and it's really fun because it brings a lot of good, stats to it, and you just get great stats. All right, so that's that. What else? I'm coming to the end, am I? 10 minutes. Okay, real quick, I'll show you this as well. This is not really an item level boost thing, but it is something that will help your stats out, which I think is more important anyway. If you go into your main hand, once you get your artifact, you can go over here and you say, no, not that, I'm sorry, this one. It has to be an artifact one, I wasn't looking at the right one. If you go here, it says manage artifact powers. I didn't know I got that. You can get an artifact power that helps you out, and if you look at it, it's right here, and they're all locked, and you have to buy these, show you. What are they called? Cube of augmentations. So you buy those, and you get 4 of those cube of augmentations. You come in here to your artifact, come down here and manage it, and then buy, and then unlock a random one. The problem is that these unlock randomly, so you could get one that doesn't do anything for you, which is kind of how it is for me right now. I've unlocked 4 of them, and they all are pointless for me. I'm going for a specific one. I think it's this one, which ups my crit severity. So you just kind of got to unlock randomly until you get it. It kind of sucks. It doesn't give you an item level or anything, but if you have if you keep getting those cube of augmentations, make sure you come back down here and use them on your artifact equipment, because you might land that really great artifact power that boosts your attacks, or healing, or tanking. That's a real quick spin on that. Alright, cool. Back to the actual armor. Man, I got really far off of that, but I just needed to make sure to get you guys, however you could, item level, and sometimes it happens in the most mysterious ways, like those little enchantments, or those armor enchantments and enchantments. If you're alliance gear and you start tweaking in and doing all those little extra things that I told you about, you'll get to item level 2000, and then boom, you can actually start going into really epic dungeons, and these are right here. They're master. That's what they're called. They're master dungeons. Temple, Spider, Cragmire, and as you can see, it's item level 2000. So at least it's not a... cube's kind of cheap. Yes, it is. The cubes are actually much cheaper than you would think. Not many people spend enough time on some of these things, I've noticed, which is why I'm telling you guys, because it can give you the leg up in a lot of ways that many people don't notice. Again, if everybody's focused on item level, they're item level, item level, item level, they kind of leave these little ways to tweak your character and get it a little bit better, and this is one of those cubes. So make sure you buy if you want to, buy those cubes. And again, it's kind of random. You kind of got to go through probably a couple renditions, but if you get lucky, then boom, you have an extra benefit. Let's see. The other thing, boons. Let's go back to boons real quick. Boons would do that as well. Your boons are not shown up in your item level, but if you have every boon, it gives you a boost. So some of the boons are just like those Underdark rings. It's once you are in combat, you collect. I can read some to you. It's really interesting, because if you don't pay attention, you miss them. And then and I did that, and it was the biggest mistake I made until I actually just invested in things. Really, it's not going to show me that in there. Neverwinter, come on. I gotta go in here, look it up here. Okay. There we go. So, there we go. For instance, this Elvish Fury, no item level to it, but whenever I kill a foe, I gain 135 power for 45 seconds. And you miss it down there at the bottom, but it stacks 30 times. So if you're a high DPS person, you are killing trash mobs, that's really easy to do in 30 times, pretty quickly. So you're talking about 30 times 135, you're 13,500, no, I'm sorry, 1,350 times 3. So you're talking about another 4,000 power, pretty much, there. And that just happens when you're killing enemies. It doesn't really reflect on your stats right now. So make sure you're spending time doing these boons at the same time. I know it's hard, and I know it's easy to want to get item level up so you can go to a higher level, blah, 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 but it really pays off to do the boons and get the rings that might give you less stats and all that. Alright, we're coming to the end. Real quick. Yes, so different types of gear. So as soon as you get to 2000, you start collecting Seals of Protector. Come back down here, you get the Elven Longcoats, or the Elven Gear is what I call it. So as soon as you do that, come here, collect your Seals of Protectors, and buy your Elven Gear. Actually, don't buy it unless you really feel like you need to, but a lot of this gear you kind of get in the dungeons. So when you play the dungeon, you get this gear. So if you play enough of these epic dungeons, which you're going to want to, because epic dungeons kind of stay with you all the way up to high level content. You like always want to keep playing epic level dungeons. It gives you AD, it gives you these types of gear, it gives you random other types of gear that are actually much better. That kind of sporadically throw in like a really high piece of gear. Like I'll show you, I just got this the other day, it was kind of random, but so like Berwyn's Demise, like that's item level 150. It's kind of a random piece of equipment that's just better. Same thing, there's like the gauntlets, you can get those just kind of random, just better. Those all come from epic dungeons, so make sure you play those. But what you want to save your protectors seals for are, I mentioned it before to you, so I won't spend much time on it, but your Dragonflight armor is the next best thing of gear. You want to collect to get to this gear. This gear is the easiest way, the easiest section of gear to get that's the best. One of the best. It's the easiest and the best. It's kind of hard to explain, but you play Dragonflight, which our guild does a ton of, and then you get the fangs there, and then you get the protector seals, and then you get the guild marks from doing things for our guild, and you go to the guy and actually get the gear from the guy in our guild, in our stronghold. So this is another set of gear that's really important too, because if you miss it, it's part of a set. So if you get 2 of them, you get 2,000 max hit point. 3 of them, you get 500 power. So not only does it have one of the best stats, but it also gives you good bonus if you get part of the equipment. So as you can see, I've maxed out on this part of the equipment. There's one other set of equipment that I will not spend too much time on, but I will tell you that is better than this, and it is the Storm King campaign equipment, and it's called Relic equipment. This equipment is really hard to get because you have to basically play a heroic encounters over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to get it. I got one piece of it just because I wanted to spend the time to do it. I don't know why I was that crazy, but this is the better gear. So as you can see, this is comparing that to the Dragonflight equipment. It's got a lot better stats. There are some downsides to it though. Don't forget the downsides. First of all, you have to restore it. To restore it, like I said, you have to gain a bunch of currency type things, campaign type currency in this one campaign in order to restore it. It takes forever to do. So it took me a while to get it. Once I get it, I actually have to empower it. And this empowerment is the same thing. I have to run heroics over and over and over again to empower this piece of equipment. And if you look at it, it says Tier 3 combat time remaining 2 hours. If I equip this piece of gear to myself and start fighting with it, that ticker will go down. As soon as the ticker goes down 2 hours, all those stats that are in that equipment thing, they drop. And they continue to drop until I'm down to Tier 1 again. And once I'm down to Tier 1, it's no better than the Dragonflight armor. Actually, I think it might be a little bit worse. And I have to run those heroics all over again and get the Vomni blood to empower it up again. So that's the reason why I do not have it equipped right now. The way to get around this, if you guys ever get this stuff, is that if it's unequipped, the timer does not run down. If you're not in attack mode, if you're not fighting anybody, the timer will not run down. So a lot of times what I do is I have it here in my inventory, and I will equip it if I'm doing a really hard dungeon, and then I will quickly unequip it once I'm out of that dungeon because I don't need it anymore. So just something to think about when you get later on. This is a good piece of equipment to get, it really is, if you want that extra boost of stuff. Alright, so that's that. That's the Relic armor, and that's the best gear out there right now, but it does come with downfall. And then last but not least, the Cloak Ascendancy weapons are the new weapons in River District. I won't spend too much time on those because it takes a while to get to them, but those are the best artifact equipment. You might want to run for those once you get to River District, and I will go more into that when I do a stream on that campaign. And I do not have time to talk about mounts and companions, which are another great way to boost your stats. But I will tell you one thing, is that the mounts and the companions will be included in item level come June 20th. So make sure that you equip as many companions and mounts as you can, and make sure you equip every one of your campaigns with these rune stones and equipment, as well as your mounts with all these insignias, because each one of these insignias is going to get an item level put on it, and each one of the companions runestones will get an item level put on it. And once it does, two things are going to happen. Everybody's item level is going to drastically increase, which is awesome, but the downfall to that is that each one of these things is going to rocket in price in the trade house. So make sure you buy that stuff soon, if you have the AD to do it, or at least don't get rid of them, because you'll be able to sell it for more when the thing drops. All right. Cool. Well, I thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this stream. For those of you that stuck with me, I'm going to give you guys another 50. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be doing another stream later on this week, going through. What did I say I was going to go through? Oh, I'm going to go through Valindra's Tower and Melbog's Castle dungeons, and I actually need help with that. So if you guys are on. Carthion, Ori, Travis, I don't know it depends if you guys are high enough level yet. You might be there by the time Wednesday comes around, hopefully, and with the help of this stream. Yeah, if you guys are, I'd really like your help to go through those, because it's hard for me to queue up and wait for people. Great, awesome. I'm glad you liked it. And again, this is going to be on YouTube and it's recorded, so I know that's a lot of information. If you get to the point where you're looking at certain items and you're like, what did Spy say? What did Eric say about this? I don't know. Then just you can go back to my YouTube channel. It's on my Mixer bio, and actually, it's not. I'm looking at it right now. I apologize. I will put it up on my Mixer bio, and you can get to it and watch it over and over again whenever you need it. Great, good. I'm glad, Charlie. I'm really glad that I was able to do that. Trying to think of other things to announce real quick before I close. Nothing. I think I'm good. Oh, the giveaways. I will be doing another giveaway later on this week. I probably won't use the points yet, because I'm going to wait for everybody to kind of get some good points watching the channel. But yeah, that will come later on, the points and everything like that. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm trying some new stuff out with Mixer, and it's going to be awesome. Hoping that I have another exciting thing on next stream. I think I might be able to do some overlays and stuff like that. I was messing with it tonight and just didn't feel comfortable putting those on right now, because I wasn't ready for them. So yeah, great. Glad you guys liked it. Pass on the word if anybody else needs help with it. Again, follow me at mixer.com/SpyShadow. If you guys are watching this recording later on, anybody that's out there, please do. I'll have more on, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Let me go ahead and do that. Thank you, guys.